season. Yeah! Yes, Lord! Oh. Get that out of there.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Matty Rants. Thank you so much for tuning in to another live review rant, or a rant with me, a recap with me, really, where I'm going to be talking about We're Here Season 3, the first 2 episodes. They certainly were a doozy, as well as recap the entire season so far of the White Lotus Season 2. In particular, go through each of these character stories that all sort of intertwined together, have a light conversation, sort of review, really, in all actuality, for SZA's new album, SOS. I had a good listen to it this morning with libations and coffee. So I can certainly give you some of my favorite songs, as well as, give my overall feel of what I think the album was giving. So this is a Friday afternoon live. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. You already know what's up. It's your boy Matty Rants. Let me get my social medias out the way. Of course, drop a disclaimer since people get a little difficult sometimes. I don't understand it. And have a nice conversation with you. You understand that it is also Canada versus the world premiere day. So if you are a part of a particular set that I'm going to mention in a second, you should know that reaction video is going to be coming soon. But it's at Matty Rants for my social medias everywhere except for Twitter, which is at the Matty Rants. You can find that all in the description down below. I also have merch available with dragqueenmerch.com. Shout out to Bible Girl and Company with t-shirts, tank tops, and stickers available for your consumption. That link is also in the description. I do reactions to each and every one of these episodes I'm talking about today. We're Here, and the White Lotus is included in this on my Patreon for as low as $1 a month. Catch my live reaction where I'm in my most comfortable space watching the show, giving you my full feel as we go through the episode together. But that's as low as $1 a month on my Patreon. I'm also bookable on Cameo. I actually have a request I got to get to either today or tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow morning when I have been rested and I have a full goodness today. But bookable on Cameo for any requests. If you got something that you want to get off your chest, if you're having a bad day, a birthday, anything special like that, I got you. It'll be a personal message straight from the heart. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Because conversations are held in spaces that people sometimes misconstrue, and intentions can all be fun and good, but when somebody takes what you know and what you like and they just mess your words up, it could be throwing you off. So I want to do this today because if I missed anything, if I talked about anything, if I made a joke, a ha, giggle, or whatever, and someone took it to the level, just know that this show, my show, this channel is for entertainment purposes only, and content is not intended to malign any religion, race, company, individuals, gender, or wigs. All opinions expressed by Matty Rants and program participants are solely personal views and reflect the opinions of every human being on the planet, and no hate should be sent to any of the shows or individuals mentioned on this program. So please don't be a poot. And if you feel uncomfortable after viewing this program, by all means consume some Activia and have yourself a good poot, okay? All right. What's going on, live chat? I see you. If you do want to drop a tip in my jar for hosting today, giving you a little light and love, entertain, whatever the case may be. It's also the holidays too. And baby got bills. Drop something in my PayPal.me/MattyRants, Cash App $SimonRants, Venmo MattyRants with that thumbs up, which is for free, is certainly up for your consumption as well. Hit that thumbs up button. Show YouTube that you like this content, and get in the comment section afterwards. Talk about these episodes. So let me tell you something. Eris, I see you, baby. I have to be honest with you. That was a 1 week free trial that I forgot about, and I forgot to end my subscription. So this morning I was charged a good $54 for a year subscription to Lens. I did not want it for a year, and I am screwed. I was like, wait. I looked at my account this morning, y'all. I swear to God. And I kept going through. Now, what would I have paid for that would have been this much money? Sure enough, Linda got me, and I hate it. So I said, if I paid all that for the year, and certainly I can't dispute it, I already tried it this morning. I'm gonna go ahead and use that motherfucker once a month and do like a clip of photos and just do something crazy. So you got me, Lindsay. Anywho, but hey, Asia, thank you so much for your super chat. Have you watched Wednesday on Netflix? I actually haven't watched it yet. Yeah, they do an annual fee work in progress. So they charge me for the year. So my subscription for that, which I did not want, was set up for an entire year of the service. So I'm like, fine. I ended the subscription, but it says it'll stop within a year. Can't get my money back. It's crazy. I haven't seen Wednesday yet. It's actually on my list of things to watch. I have been trying to catch up on the White Lotus. I've been catching up on We're Here, what we're talking about today. And I've also like had to dive into some different shows that are not in my wheelhouse of reviewing because I like to watch TV too. Plus, I may be joining C Diggy One for a Real Housewives moment for Potomac. So, for those of you who asked Matty, we've been dying to hear your opinion on Potomac Housewives, Housewives in general. I talked to Chris already, and he was like, "Sure, come on through." So, I may be on Chris's channel in the near future, whether it's this episode or the next episode after that, reading along with Chris in reference for that show. So trust and believe. I've been watching, been trying to catch up with that on top of other shows. I actually binge watched. What did I binge watch recently? Something. I binge watched some show that I really enjoyed. I can't even think of the name of it right now. My brain is so. The fuse is lit, but low key. Okay. But oh yeah, and I need to get into Willow. That's the other show on Disney Plus for those of you who are familiar with that series and where it comes from. I'm interested in that one too. So yeah. Oh, also, many of y'all have been requesting for Dragged In. That is next on my list of shows I need to watch. I'm going to try to work it in my reactions, even though I already have a lot going on right now and I have to like worry about space when it comes to uploading. So give me a second on that one. I would like at least 3 episodes to pass by because right now I'm like trying to not be overwhelmed with everything and get out that DragCon LA content to you because I just started editing that. Okay, let's start this up, shall we? We're talking about We're Here first. HBO Max is kind of the theme for today. I do want to say, before we get this started, I understand that a person on a particular show that we're going to be talking about today has had some current rumors, this, that, and the other said about them. Okay. I've talked about that in a video before. I've made my stance upon that. That video was flagged. So I'm not making that the conversation today, just like I didn't do that. And I tried to, for the best of my ability, talk about another particular show with another particular queen whose name was referencing food and had to go through an entire season of pretending they weren't there. Okay, so I'm going to review the show. And Quan, yes, I'll be talking about SZA's album at the end of this. I included it in this program today. But yeah, I just want to be clear of that. I understand your concerns. I am not siding on one side of anything. Nothing has been completed on one person's side just yet. It's just something that's been given, which is a lot of information. I want that to be done and respected here in this space. I understand people can get very sensitive, overwhelmed, and emotional. That's for you, not for me. Don't bring it over here. So I'm talking about the show and I'm trying to keep it there. All right, cool. Let's just keep it moving, baby. Because sometimes I'd be like, okay. Oh no, Aniki, I'm so sorry you got the vid. I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better. I was feeling weird walking through Sam's Club the other day, trust me, and it was like, child, people were sneezing and stuff. All right, so we're starting with We're Here. It's on HBO Max in its 3rd season. It is an Emmy award-winning series. Shout out to We're Here. We're Here has a special place in my heart, in particular because it's my first press kit that I ever got, recognized as a YouTuber who reviews shows in the LGBTQI plus community, and having them give me some love. I got a wig by Wigs and Grace, makeup, the whole bit, everything down. And they don't even know. I was really emotional when I got the box because it was during the peak of what Aniki has got here, what we just talked about, that stuff. And when I got it, I was in transition in moving to Vegas, if y'all remember this. And I was sitting at that hotel. And so I had got that package like mailed to like, a family member's house. And it's just like, okay, I was able to pick it up. And I was just like, oh my God. So anywho, they're always gonna have a special place in my heart, not just because of the PR packet, but because the show is extremely emotional. But I felt connected in that moment to them. No, unfortunately, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not that girl anymore. So I do not get press packets like that. I am back to square zero, Felicia. So woo, bad Matty. But we're trying. We're gonna keep doing those reviews, and hopefully, I'll get another PR kit sometime. But I'm not that girl anymore. Anywho, back to We're Here. So this is the start of this one, child. We get to Texas. This episode in particular, it's a lot to take in. I also want to say, while I am recapping these episodes, I may not do this like how I do my normal Drag Race reviews or with Dragula, but I want to like go over the show. If I forget anyone's drag name, not on purpose, just again, I watched these back to back together. I had an emotional cry. It was a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But something about this episode in particular sat on my spirit a lot, especially as somebody who was born and raised in Texas, who has gone through these experiences himself with people out here and even in a big city like Houston, but also from traveling through Texas many times, stopping in certain towns, knowing of family members that don't necessarily live within the big cities and having to go through these small places where everything is sort of like this pot bubbling of, I don't want to say conservative feelings, but more so traditional values that have extended into biblical senses that get to a place of out of love, hate. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Out of love, hate. And where they feel what they're doing is the right thing, but in reality, they're causing nothing but pain. And so these queens, Bob the drag queen, Eureka O'Hara, and Shangela all looked really lovely for the setup here. But the episode already started off in this really dark tone when one of the people who we're going to be talking about soon here finds this Facebook group that is basically warning the town of these drag queens that are coming and that they need to prepare themselves for what's going to take place as they're traveling through the town. And there's, of course, trying to present we're here. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be who you are and yourself. You don't even have to be gay. You just there's something about we're here that extends past just sexuality, but more into freedom of oneself as a person. Because not everybody that they choose to be on the show is gay or a lesbian or trans or non-binary. Some people are straight allies and they themselves, I don't want to do this, but very celebrity drag race, but with a heart, better music kind of production, better stage shows. Consistently seeing people, it's they go to these places, these towns, and they talk to these people who, I don't know how they reached out to them. Y'all can come here, listen. We'll just say it's like the north side of Houston. We don't have to say Houston. We can say come on, we're here. No, I'm just playing. I'm not playing. But they go there, they find these people, they tell their stories, and then through drag they help them free themselves of whatever is holding them together or share their message, or those are these moments with We're Here. And I really enjoy this show a lot, but I'll tell you this, it's an emotional roller coaster. If you're not the crying type, I tell people, okay, so you might want to give this a moment. Because if you don't like to cry, if you don't like to feel some sort of like emotional state, this is a tough one. Because this show takes you there and it opens these wounds that you may have. And it also gets you to start questioning things and answering certain questions, I should say. From another perspective, from a soul that you never knew, but possibly relates to you. So starting with Adrienne on this first episode here, she, was one of the, I think the main representative, like the Democrats that live in this town in Texas. Can anyone give me the town's name real quick? Because I want to say, is it Granbury? It has to be Granbury, right? It's Granbury. I should know. This is my state, but I try to keep track of states that are sundown towns out here, mostly in Houston, because child. But she's basically, I think, running this gig here, the main representative of it, and it's a very small community. But with her approach in being democratic through this political process in this town, she's also an ally with the LGBTQI plus community. With her being an ally of this place, it also comes with her taking heat because the people don't understand why she would want to be this way. Like, why are you supporting them? And the I guess misrepresentation of those who are homosexuals or those who are queer, in a sense. And we love an ally, but Mama's doing the Lord's work as much as possible, but she's facing her own flack from this. First of all, I knew she was gonna be that bitch just from seeing her confessional moment. I said, "Mama's giving us a jacket, a nice hair." Well, she's a hairdresser too, but I was like, "Oh, I like Adrian." Shangela is assigned with Adrian, and one thing about these queens that work with everybody, they all share similar traits. At the same time, they all have their particular superpower, I should say, or what they're known for. Like, everybody came from the same planet as Superman, but these babies have their own power. Shangela, to me, reads as the most fearless in terms of shaking the room and being in certain spaces, and their voice not being shut down, and almost to a sense of, Shangela plays a very median role in a lot of conversations. We'll see that later when they have these talks with Republican Party members who were involved in the drag show. We'll get there in a second, but that's kind of something I've seen with Shangela throughout the seasons of the show, is where she is in those spaces with everybody else, and the way her approach comes from it, it's never on the defense. It's almost like an invitation to try to have a conversation until it's past that point, and it's the way Shangela handles things. And I think that worked really well with Adrian's story in reference to going through the town, dealing with the opposition with the conservative folks there. Now, to Deshay, this is one of my babies. I always have a baby per episode, but we see non-binary sister. That's right. Yeah, gots to be, has to be. That's what I'm thinking, if I remember. Being fired from their job, let go because of who they are and what they have chosen to speak on, and not hiding themselves in the church. I believe, as the minister of music, sister, correct me if I'm wrong, I used to date a minister of music. That's the babies that are in charge of basically all the good gospel that you hear, from whether it's the piano, the organ, and this, that, and the other, maybe holding the choir and conducting. That's who that is. And shout out to my boo, or ex-boo, excuse me, we not together, let me not do all that, but ex-boo, because trust me, he used to be at that church 24/7, working on the choir, getting the music together, all that. I understand it's a very stressful job. Hell, I dated another minister of music. I don't know how that always happens. Anywho, Deshay is in a crossroads right now because of the place where they're living, which is Granbury, being so against them in every which way, being Black, being queer, representing as, gender, non-binary. It puts them in a really place of, do I just leave? Why can't I just make this my home? This is where I want to be. And they got another job, and it's outside, of course, Granbury. You know what I'm saying? But it's still the blow of a place that's supposed to be home, not accepting you because of who you are. And I mean, even in Texas in general, even with the bigger cities, while it may be a little bit more acceptable, it's still something. It's still something. Child, I got this incense going. Hold on a second. Oh, I was like, where is the smoke coming from? I had my incense burning. Listen, I keep it very Erica Badu up in here, y'all. Listen, hey, there's a couple of y'all in the live today. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening to your boy. Do me a favor, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Become part of my Rant Pack family. I know this ain't the usual conversation, and tomorrow, of course, will be Canada versus the world. But I appreciate those who step on through, listen to the live, show your love and support. It means a lot to me. So you want me to talk about other shows? You got to show up for these. So I thank you for tuning in, and let's go. Drop a tip if you feel like it. So yeah, Deshay has Bob. What a good person for Deshay to be, paired up with, especially with the understanding of each other through how they identify as well as their background and where they come from here. And Deshay wanting to fully make this gesture of showing themselves out at this Granberry Festival and all that. I was a big fan this mom on the piano, so I love it. I love it. In between all of this, there's supposed to be a drag story time, and this has been a very hot topic through social media, through the news. This really interesting narrative of people making it very derogatory to have said drag queens read to their children. Now, if that's not what you want for your kids, I understand that. For other parents, it's the fact that they are using terms like you're subjecting them to this perversion, this, that, and the other, when in reality, that just tells me you don't know what drag is. That tells me that what you think of the sexuality behind a person, you are confused about and you're not educated on. On top of, people forgetting about intentions and also the message behind what is happening here. Like they say, drag queens are clowns or this, that, and the other, and it's a story time. It's not something to where they're using this as an opportunity to get to your children. It's really ridiculous. Um, it's a shame, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I still respect anyone who doesn't want that to be the case. I wouldn't bring them to any story time if that was the case, because you don't know who was behind the costume. I would recommend that to be the case. I wish that was the just random people telling stories, this and okay, that's a conversation, but to specifically make it here is interesting. And also, there have been drag shows that are catered to children during the day at locations that are non-alcohol serving, where the shows are all polite and non-sexual extraness or whatever. So that okay. But anywho, it's a lot. And this of course I felt bad for, because they still did have the story time. They just had to have it in another location, and it wasn't an announcement because of course people found the announcement and they were threatening to do something about this situation. It's terrible. Now Lou was, an interesting one here. I like Lou a lot. Lou is also someone who already has a very loud voice and um is not afraid to speak up on behalf of others. And what I loved about it was that Lou here, also I believe non-binary trans. I believe. Please forgive me if I don't have everything correct here, but I'll keep it rolling. Lou is speaking up on behalf of the people at school who are queer, who fall under that umbrella, who are having books taken away from them that tell their stories, that things that I growing up was looking for, but we would only be able to find maybe not in high school. I had to go to Barnes and Noble and go find a book. I wouldn't be able to find it in school, but the schools were taking books that had anything to do with the LGBTQIA plus, and of course it's like taking someone's voice away from them. And Lou is on the side of we're not doing that today. We're not fearless, and I love that. And they got Eureka, who I don't know if y'all have noticed this. When it comes to Eureka, I don't know if y'all have noticed this. If I'm correct, Eureka is woman now. She's a trans woman. And I've noticed, and this is like a progression through the seasons, where I've seen Eureka's already feminine, but femininity really start to grow and become something completely, It's interesting. I was sitting there watching the show. You'll see it in my reaction. And I was like, Eureka is giving. But for me, I know from the change from when I see season one, from of course Drag Race, and then coming into this, same thing that happens when I see Bob and how they express themselves too. And even like looking at Shangela now, the growth between the individuals, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, okay, and it feels, not to say that I should feel for them, but it's like almost like I'm celebrating them on their journey right now. If that makes sense to y'all, I hope it does. It makes sense to me. But I celebrate it and I loved it because I'm like, oh, she's mama. That's auntie. And I'm here for it. Even the second episode when we get to some of the slides, auntie, very much that. But back to Lou. Something about supportive parents to queer children is such a big deal for me, especially with how I grew up without that support and with the very much, hate the sin, love the person sort of situation that doesn't make any sense when that's what you only use in your arguments and where your boundaries fall in place, where you have taken away the person who is the person by you only utilizing the sin as the way you feel about them. And I love that these parents are very supportive of their child. And, through the next episode, we're going to get to another situation that was a big deal. We also had opposition within the Democratic Party, which, again, not everybody who is a liberal is progressive. This was a great example of that. I actually was happy they showed this when we were here. It was uncomfortable to watch, but it also showed while people may have different political beliefs about, what should come, and what should stay, there is a point where certain people can feel like, I don't want to give my vocal support of these folks. I can do it in passing when they're near me. And, I love the gays, I go to the drag brunch. But when it comes to the ballot and it comes to issues that, apply to the LGBTQIA plus community, are you there? Will you arrive? Will you stand up and be an ally? And Adrian is a real one. And not everybody can be that right now because they're also afraid of the backlash they'll get in the town. These people who live out there are a little past the expiration date as far as beliefs are concerned. And violence is the answer for those who have nothing else to use. When you have no real argument, when you have no base for anything, what can you turn to? We've seen it time and time again. Honestly, when you can't use your words, when you don't really have a base to stand on, when every argument you have, there is no grounds for it, and people are winning on their points, you turn to violence and you call it justice. It's ridiculous. Showing up for the parade, of course, was a lovely moment that turned into seeing people basically let them know, hey, we know you're filming, so we're going to stand out here in this heat. And she's offering free drag queen repellent, which is prayer. God bless her. I wish she would, offer some people, advice on the tacky clothes that I'm sure she has her entire class. See, this is not about that. I don't have to insult this woman because it's an insult. It's an insult now just to see her in her full space. But Shangela, Bob, and Eureka challenged these folks who stood out here to let them know all about how much they hate the gays, and all that shit. This is a 4th of July celebration. So let's think about this real quick, y'all. This is a 4th of July celebration. This is not a pride event, okay? They came out there with those signs. Nothing to do with 4th of July. This is not a pride event. I need you to hear me on this one. This is how deep this goes. They were ready. And they were ready because they knew, based on their town, how small it is, how word gets around, fucking Dixie cups to the line, bitch. Someone told them they're going to be out there, and they wanted to make a spectacle of that moment because instead of them actually being celebratory of their independence, that only really applies to them in this case because they're white and cis, and there you go. They wanted to let them know that. You have to really think about the mental state of people sometimes in situations like these. This is what you took time for today. This is the hill you're wanting to die on. This is the biblical verse that you caught that was just That's the one. But things that you do in your own home, things that you've done behind others, all of those things that are just as great of sin, which it is in the Bible. No sin is greater than the other, all too, just so you know. Mixing of fabrics too, if we really want to talk about it. And I'm Seventh-day Adventist, baby. We I we could play the game of let's talk about the Bible. Oh, bitch, read it front to back. I also had a daily Bible growing up, y'all. So I had the regular Bible that I read. I had to do it because, of course, Sabbath school and how I was raised growing up and how we would worship this queer right here. Yep, yep, yep. And then I also had a daily Bible where it had the Old Testament and New Testament done each day specifically, uh, book, chapter, et cetera, et cetera. And you would read it like that. And then there was points like at the end of it where it would break it down for you. So that way you would understand the context better. So if we really want to do this today, tomorrow, next week, or the month afterward, can and will do. And while I myself have read texts in the book saying that I'm an abomination, I've also read many, 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 many other things as well. And I honestly believe that not a single person on this planet has lived without sin. With that being said, I also state that in the book, it mentions forgiveness and love and, you know, repentance and all of that. And unfortunately, people are not recognizing that when we do those things, sometimes those things do occur because, again, because of habit in the human being and who you are as a person and that function about yourself. So, we can play tit for tat. We can do all of that. At the same time, I think everything is kind of like up for grabs as far as what you want to make sense out of and what you want to take as being the word. So I also know that the book has been translated so many times that you don't know what people just put in it. So we don't know what the original context was. And a lot of people act like they do, but they don't. But the girls were girling, showing up. We're here taking up space in these places where they wouldn't be taking the stares of others in. It was very uncomfortable to watch, but I also know that they probably had to beef up security and be very self-aware in those moments. Now, when Eureka was talking to this man, it was really interesting how, like I told you about this sort of quiet support that people give and not this out loud and hey, don't hurt those folks. They're worried about people doing something to them based upon the way the entire town feels. And while they don't necessarily fully agree with them, they just have to go with the group. Think of that mentality. Scary, right? Um, Bob getting emotional during the 4th of July celebration in reference to freedom, being a Black queer American, the history, the current state where we feel like our future is going. That is very emotional to take in. I don't even, it's interesting, even as a born Texan and all that kind of stuff, 4th of July doesn't sit well with me as an adult like it did when I was a kid with fireworks. Like as an adult, I am aware of the day and I know what it stands for, but I also recognize the things that I've witnessed, the things that I understand about where I'm from and what this land that I'm sitting on is about and how it got there. And it feels, I get where Bob is coming from. And, it was a moment, and I always am appreciative. I love to say these things over and over again with my reviews, but I'm appreciative of the things that this show shows because a lot can be left on the floor, but those human moments that a lot of people share are very valid and necessary to see. So Shangela, once again, this fearlessness that I talked about coming into these spaces of these Republicans who are allies, but asking, hey, would you take this big stance for this town of Granbury by showing up in drag, whatever light drag we can put you in, just to say that you are not against them, that you're with them. And so some came and some didn't. Um, of course, back to this situation here, but not situation, but it's so interesting seeing queer people in the church. I myself have my own story of why I don't really attend as much as I used to. I still worship and I still praise and I still pray often, if not every day. But I have my own horror stories about not being able to go back in the church because of situations that happened to me that made me feel not welcome. And even in churches that are very welcoming to queer people, there are, a lot out there, maybe not a lot, maybe a few that are out there. Let me not exaggerate. In spaces of worship, it still feels triggering to me to get back in those moments. So even when my dad asks me sometimes, when's the next time you come into church with me? He doesn't understand that there were times that you would take me to church and then it wouldn't be necessarily just for church, but to try to fix something about me. And people would be talking to you almost in code and you're trying to figure out like, why are they sounding like that? And what is this thing about words and people trying to tell you? It was a way people would talk about you being wrong, or oh, you could be fixed, or I'm gonna keep praying for you, that kind of saying, and it wouldn't have any context of wealth and success, but more so we see something in you that we need to take out. But their love story is really cute, and I'm glad that there's some peace there for them, as well as this space for them to continue their work, especially when you are built for this, as I like to say. And they're blessed in the holy anointed oil of the ministry of music. But Bob, Shangela, and the rest of them have found the Facebook page where apparently their location where they were getting the drag ready for the following day was tipped off. This is scary. And someone went in there and took pictures. Didn't even know what the stuff they were taking pictures of, right? Just took pictures, made up a random narrative of the situation, and was basically saying, look, this is what they're doing. And almost like, look, this is what we're doing. What are we gonna do about it? That's what I need y'all to understand. Sometimes people don't finish the sentence, but there's so much more to that sentence. There's so much more to that statement. No, it's not even just a sentence. It's a paragraph. It's a dissertation. It's a call to action. What are we gonna do? Like, that's what that was. And it also puts their security at risk. And this is wild. Wild. My neighbor has the loudest truck on the planet. She's a lesbian. She's cool. But every time that car starts, scares the shit out of me. Every time he's spoken to me, I'm like, oh. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's your boy Matty Rants. We are talking about We're Here Season 3, Episode 1. We're going to get into Episode 2. Then we're going to talk about the White Lotus Season 2, what's happening so far, my predictions for whose body was in the water. And we're going to also do a quick review of SZA's new album, SOS. I got to listen to it today. I have some thoughts. Is it another Control, or is it its own masterpiece? I'm certainly going to talk about it with you today. Thanks for being here. Bath and Body Works. Do me a favor, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Drop a tip of my jar if you feel like it. It's paypal.me/MattyRants. Cash App $MattyRants. Venmo MattyRants. Quick shout out to Coco Kane, Melissa B. Fierce, and Meatball. Duly, really enjoyed our live drag race review and posted some clips of some talking points we had. And it's actually picked up a little traction on Twitter. And Coco had shared it and Melissa had shared it, very much validating where she was coming from. And Meatball also chimed in too with an agree. So I was like, oh, God. Because, me and Julie had to put on our bonnets and take some people to church. I also, I had a racist comment left that I deleted that I didn't, share with y'all, like the person's name. It was a very racist name. And you could tell from their opinion, it was coming from a place of, you're attacking the whites, and that's not what happened. That's not the case. The show was entertainment. And we even said, this is not about that. But, I saw the name they used and I knew where the context it came from. So I had to do a block and, delete moment. And if I see them again, I'm going to report them. But, reminder, even on YouTube, even in this space that is supposed to be a place where I'm allowed to speak my point and talk, how, say what I feel with the terms of services. And people reach out to you and let you know, I don't like you because of your color or because you represent something. that I hate. And that's on them, but also we have to stand our ground on how we feel and not shrink for nobody or appease the bullshit. Okay. So, just in case anybody ever goes to the comment section, if you see something, send that to me. That has to go. I don't facilitate that shit in my space. Okay. Or anybody attacking you or anything like that. It's a safe zone. We can agree to disagree respectfully, but what we're not going to do is turn into some animals. That's not what we're going to do. Let's get into this show. This is maybe the coolest thing Eureka has ever done performance-wise. Yep, I said it. And I've seen her live. She's actually really good. This was so cool. And the way it transitioned into her, Mama likes a nice little, protracted kick. But I was really entertained by this particular scene, the song I'm a like it was so good. It was so good. Like I thought we were going to end it there, but Miss Mama did an outfit change and it turned into a full dance moment. We got to get a split in there and all that jazz. But I thought that Eureka opened up the show brilliantly, and it was a really great way to start it. Now, Bob and our good sis over here, this was a really, really fun performance too. I loved it down. There was so much good energy. And I'm always just sitting there like a fan. It's sad because I myself wish I was there so I could tip, but I'm like, oh no, this is just a show. The girls are just there to enjoy. Because how to take me to a drag show? I'm tipping somebody. I'm throwing $1 on that stage. I went to the ATM. You're going to get my money. But this was fun and it was lovely. I really enjoyed it. They incorporated the music elements of it that is representative of the person. They also brought their love up there as well. And it was just a moment of sharing who they were with people who they felt comfortable with. And I dug it. I was really entertained. It's great. I love these shows. Now, Lou, closing the goddamn door. No. I do. Haven't you people ever heard of? I love that song so much. But this was a really cool performance as well, and also played into. I thought Eureka was the Trunchable for a second. I was like, girl, what is this? But it turned into this really cool moment of reading the book. Of course, Teach the Truth, representing what their fight is right now and keeping queer literature available for consumption as it tells stories that relate to people and not just one person's story that doesn't relate to everybody and excludes them. So I was here for Lou in the performance. I thought their parents coming up there is just such a good feels, but it was great. Now with Adrian, we started off in the wig shop, baby. We went into a full performance with Shangela. It was a great entertaining number. The Republicans who Shangela and Adrian talked to came out and not necessarily full geesh for all. Some just put on a wig and a schmuck. Baby in the middle said full drag. But it was a powerful moment for this city, for Granbury, at least in that space. Maybe those who didn't want to partake in it sat in their venom and evil in that moment. And I pray for protection for everybody who was in that building based off of the things that were said and the things that were talked about through that space, It was a good first episode. It's very emotional, but very taxing too, because you hear those stories of those people just wanting to be themselves, wanting to show support, that love. The community isn't on that other stuff that they talk about. You know what I'm talking about. They're trying to attach that to the gay narrative, like as if people who aren't heterosexual do the stuff that they're talking about. And it's always the ones that be yelling. Let me tell you about that man that was talking to Bob here in Jackson. You can't tell me he doesn't look like the third cousin who, messed with the first cousin and ended up having a cousin baby that messed with another cousin baby. And that turned into that. a few chromosomes was off with that one, and they had the nerve to talk about you. I get you like to talk to little children, read them stories and this that. I'm looking at him like, you look like the person who has 5 children in your basement, sir. I need you to calm down. Let's get into Jackson. I got very emotional with this one. You already know I related to a few of these baby stories. 2 out of 3. The third one, he was good too. There was a moment I like. Eureka had to correct him. The Elvis drag in the beginning was pretty iconic. I think Eureka's eye makeup here is fabulous. But we're in Jackson, Mississippi. You know, I know all about MISSI, I know all about Mississippi. I have cousins that stay out there. I never feel comfortable in Mississippi. Don't care what city it is, where it's at. I've had to stop there for gas. I've had to visit some people. I used to date a man. I have never, ever felt comfortable in Mississippi. And it's not everybody's fault, because not everybody in Mississippi is gross or whatever, but it's just, I don't have good stories. I've been pulled over by the police out there one time on my way to Birmingham. That was not pretty. That man had dogs in my car. I mean, there was nothing in there, but it was the way that it didn't even look like I had anything going on. And he turned it into a full situation where I'm sitting in handcuffs in the backseat of his car while he searches my vehicle to then let me go. But wait, gives me a speeding ticket, even though that wasn't even the thing he pulled me over for in the first place. He said one of my taillights was out. Now I'm getting a ticket for speeding, which he was like, oh, at the time, this was a while ago. So this isn't at the time when you could just go online and pay like, your ticket fees and shit. No, they wanted me to come back and go to court over that motherfucker. Girl. And I did. I don't have a good space in place when it comes to Mississippi and other certain southern states out here in the United States of America. But something about them entering this blues moment in this concert and Bob getting on the mic and literally singing about nothing. Honestly, it was a beautiful moment. And that man saying, the blues doesn't discriminate. Music doesn't either. Well, some people would say that, but then we get to lyrics in there. Let's start with Mark. Mark's a cutie. But Mark, I love how there's an intersection with being Black and in the church with a lot of us queer men and women who have come from that background. But, Mark can sing, okay? Opera style, choir, you get, I don't know, what was the register? Barra? Soprano? Just kidding. But Eric, excuse me, hold on, let me make sure here, because Lord, Mark, where did I get Eric from? Mark has this background, but Mark also is from Louisiana and had moved to Mississippi, and of course is trying to find their space or their place in this place that is not really welcoming to Black queer men, and also dealing with the separation that there is in queer spaces between the white gays and the Black gays. And that is something I can talk about from personal experience in Houston and in other places I have been to in cities. And then it also turns into this, well, where does the intersection come? Where do we meet at the middle? And where are we missing the point of us working together? And how can we fix this? When in reality, it turns into, I'm going to give you an example. There are clubs out here in Houston that used to be predominantly Black up until a situation would happen where somebody can't handle their liquor or gets out of line, and then a fight breaks out. All of a sudden, the next thing we know, there's a dress code put in place, and there's a switch up in the music, and then only certain nights are allowed, but no longer a night where we can enjoy. And it's not to say that nobody white can be there or nobody this can be there, but it's the music that's played, it's the environment that's given where you can be Black, queer, and be in that space. Okay. And so now that's been taken away, and we have to find new locations that may not be the best of locations, or places that are not really going to really elevate what we're trying to have as an experience. And it turns into, well, y'all don't know how to act. And it's like, well, y'all fight too. And also there's shit that goes down that goes further than that. There was some racism that happened in one particular club that is now a different name, where the owner had said some stuff. People had to get involved. It ended up closing because nobody wanted to go anymore because that came out, and then now it's a new place. There's a lot of that happens within the community, and I like the fact that Mark is involved in this. And again, like I talked about with these voices and the fearlessness of it all, there goes Shangela with Mark, and it was just a really sweet pair and a combination. Mark was a good one. Now, Dabrowski, okay. Dabrowski reminds me a lot of myself, as well as people who I used to be surrounded by in my early 20s, late teens. When I finally was out of the closet, but not really out of the closet. Like I had accepted my gayness. I had talked to people about it, and I had been a little bit more open, but I was still in this really weird headspace because it was just fresh for my family, and I wasn't able to fully be. I still am not, but like my comfort and my boundaries were not put in place just yet. And my strength in being okay with who I am and presenting somebody who I was in love with was really always an anxiety moment for me, you know? And I saw that with Dabrowski here, and Bob being the person coming in. It's almost like, it's funny because when Dabrowski answered the door, I'm not going to speak for you, baby, but I know when you saw Bob in this outfit and you was thinking to yourself, did this man come through the apartment complex to my unit dressed like this? I'm not speaking for it, but I caught the body language and I was cackling a little bit because in my head, me a long time ago, before I'm at where I'm at now, you know, before I got where I am now and where my mind is today, would have definitely been like, oh my God, they probably saw him. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're gonna be like, oh, I'm the gay one in the house, and they're gonna try to do something. That was where my mind was at. My mind was always thinking someone's about to attack me because of who I am, because of how my family acted towards me, because of the things I experienced going to school, and those compounded moments that took away my freedom to be okay to express myself. So when I see Dabrowski having these conversations with Bob and them not even wanting to say homosexual or gay, but use MSM, which I was like, hold on, did you talk about text messages? That's SMS. But men sleeps with men and using that term. And I'm like, you know, it threw me off. I was sitting here like, what? But I'm also thinking, and I believe I got that reaction posted already on my Patreon, so you can check it out. It's as he continued to speak about it and where he was with how comfortable he is. I was like, okay, I get it. I know what this was, especially when I used to date this one dude who was not out and he was living with me and he was having to play like we was homies all the time. And it really put me in this weird headspace of thinking that I'm being overly gay because he would mock me too. It was a really toxic relationship. He'd mock me when I would do something that was too feminine, which for me, I don't consider myself femme or mask. I'm very much like my own entity. That's how I refer to myself. And it took a while to get there. But with this guy, it used to fuck with me, and then I would be around friends and other folks that were very that mask for mask energy, and that you know we're gay but we're not gay, you know, and the judgment of seeing someone who was very femme or you know who was in drag and this that and the other in those conversations. I hate to even admit that, but I was one of those folks who didn't know any better, and it took many conversations and meeting new people and removing people out of my life and sort of giving folks like a little bit of space and finding myself that I started to understand so much more about gender, about sexuality, about, you know, who we are as people. So it took me getting out of my circle for that to happen and to be comfortable. And it felt like Bob coming here for Jabronsky was a very much an opening portal for this moment in his realization of being comfortable in your skin. Cozy. I felt that. I felt that. Oh, texturizer. I said, texturize. It's the box. But listen, then we got Chris here. Chris is, hey, dude. Chris is a dude who, does what he wants to do, has no hate for anybody in his heart. It's fucking whatever. Rock on, man. Listen, they recently lost their mother, and this is where I relate to them in their journey in finding this dominant female figure in his life that is no longer there for him anymore. And it's got him in a little place of vacancy in his spirit and his being. He's definitely still that tough guy, but also he needs to get this out because it has been suppressing him. When I saw Eureka, and also shout out to him working at a wellness store, I was like, oh, okay. That I'd be in there. You can't tell me Eureka wasn't pushing when she was coming down the street. I'm sorry, I was cacked. I think I rewound that part. I said, wait, let me look at Miss Eureka. She is walking. I was get into it. I'm sorry. I'm living for it. If you wouldn't even know that's Eureka just from looking at this picture. I'm like, oh, she's pushing. It's literally what I would have said. But no, Eureka comes into this wellness store to meet Chris and get their understanding of who they are. Eureka related to losing their mother and how that affected them, and them just expressing, not necessarily taking them. She's like, I'm not going to make you gay. This is not what that is about. It's about you being able to free yourself and for you being able to show this for your mother. I also like that when there was a time, because of course he got comfortable and was just talking and he said, bro, Eureka corrected him quickly. And it let me also know, oh no, honey, she knows who she is. And it's not even just about, I know he's comfortable to say no. It's like, no. Don't even play like that with me. And it was really, he respected it. It was a nice moment too. But this episode, I liked a lot, but I was relating a little bit more with, of course, Mark's story and Dobronsky, just based off of my own experiences. When we get to the club here and they talk about a safe queer space for Black queer people, and this conversation with what looks like the LGBT Council out here in their outreach, and for Pride, and what they can do to bring everyone together. There's a lot of work, not just with what's happening with legislation for our own rights as people in the LGBTQIA plus community. But there's also work within the community itself, because there is still portions of segregation based on people's beliefs. You can be gay and be racist. That's a possibility. Bob talking to Dobronsky's partner, who is in drag, which was a very interesting take. It was like, okay, so you're trying to get out of your own shell, but you're with someone who was already out of it, but is very relaxed and cool. You know what I'm saying? And how they're gonna, Bob getting another understanding and how they can possibly remove that shell he has up in place and get him to just fully express himself. But this part here had me in tears. I was in tears. Nebraska, you are very lucky to have cousins like this that you can talk to and who have your back in this moment. And this felt like things that I have experienced at one point in time or another with family members that I may not do so much anymore because of us living so far away from each other, and just situations that happen, and getting that acceptance and that full, I'm telling you what I'm doing and you're not judging me, but you're riding with me. It was a lot for Dobronsky to take in this moment. And they had to exit out of the patio and have a cry, because there's a lot of hurt that's in place for them right now that they haven't gotten over. And it's going to take us some time. Therapy is lovely. I enjoy it. And I recommend it for anybody. And you can get free therapy too, trust. it can take a lot out of you when you just don't get the things on your chest that have been just so toxic. So my heart goes out to him. We had this really weird moment, you know. This man, they're like, y'all need to repent. And then this is his response to him. Do you hear? So what would be the point of your argument, cousin Ed? It- this is stuff that I have dealt with before. I've had a man get in my face before in New Orleans one time over that kind of shit. He got real aggressive. Um, Bob is minding his business. And they put this narrative on him that does not exist because they are not educated, they don't know, they have made up their minds already. So that is not going to stop them from putting on a show. And it also just let you know that, listen, while all of this has been lovely and it's been an emotional ride and everyone's getting their dues and acceptance and feeling like they're more themselves, there is still hate out there, and it has to be met sometimes with, I don't know what that is, or tell me, explain. Oh, you don't want to have a conversation, so you're not trying to talk? I'm backing out. Getting into the showcase here, I was like, when did they film this? I was like, when did Break My Soul come out? I was like, when did they film this? I love Shangela's opening out. I loved everything outside of this white man in this Egyptian garb. Y'all can miss me with the Matty, here you go. No, I didn't understand why. Like, if you're gonna do that theme, like, please do not do Gods of Egypt to us, Shangela. Like, what the fuck? I didn't understand why he had them clothes on. I was like, no, I know he's a dancer, but it broke my soul just a tad bit. But I did love this performance in itself. But besides that twink and it was like, you know, it took Eureka O'Hara for me to really understand what Iggy Azalea is, you know, saying when she raps, because we all know that Iggy Azalea raps like her tongue is in a wrestling match with her teeth. But I thought this was a cool little opening, and it was a cute little moment. I enjoyed this. I will say, Chris, no shade, but actually this may be a compliment. I got full, and then this is shade to them, Celebrity Drag Race the winners vibes from this performance. When I say stiff as a brick, God bless him. Listen, I know you were up there to have a good time, and that's what you did have, and that's what I saw. You had a good time. I saw you. I witnessed your performance. I was available. The seat was there. Somehow I grabbed it. I forgot popcorn and a soda, but I was there. And you did something on that stage. You moved your body centimeters, but you did. You did. Um, Congratulations on winning Celebrity Drag Race. But you know, they had a good time and they looked good, and baby girl was padded. Express yourself. Mm-mm. Listen, once this baby, if Mark ever wants to do drag full time, we're just gonna get you to work on moving your eyes. I was low key here for this break. It was given. Now, singing it to start this off with was quite the talent. I hate the outfit. I low key did, but I love the singing at the beginning. I'm sorry. I just realized I didn't edit this photo, and you can tell Maddie was working today, and I had to run across the apartment to get my charge. I'm sorry. That's funny. Okay, no, they had a can't even focus. I just keep staring at it. Low battery. Because let me tell you what happened. So whenever I do these reviews, I'm sitting on the couch and the TV is on, but it's normally on mute with subtitles. And I rewatch the episode because I do my reactions, right? That's the first time I do it. Then I rewatch the episode and I get the gist of everything again. Then I go through it and I get the screenshots, which means the volume is on and I'm screenshotting, but I'm also rehearing what they're talking about so I can implant it just a bit. So this moment was brought to you by me actually not being on the couch, but being in the bed because I got these new pillows that I love so much. And I forgot that I didn't have my charger with me and I was comfortable and that sucker turned on and I said, oh, ran across this apartment, baby. Whew. Am I ready? Am I ready? I love that song by Lizzo, To Be Loved. They did a really good job. It was a good performance, and I felt that freedom being expressed in this moment here. They gave, too. They gave. I was like, okay, bitch, she could do full time. Go ahead, sister. Something about Dabrowski's performance took me, and I mean, of course, that song is really emotional. You know, the Jennifer Holiday version, you know, oh, that it's not that lady, Jennifer Hudson version. See, it's all these Jennifers. But Bob didn't even perform with Dabrowski this time. You know, normally Bob and the Queens will perform with them to help them with the show. No, Bob was like, no, you got this, and that's what's gonna eat. While Babe, who does drag full-time geesh, is sitting in the audience with family watching. And they performed to just the spotlight. Hey, Jared. So you actually have to type in lives because I do a lot of live videos right now. Uh, this is apparently why my channel is not performing the way I want it to, and it's really sad. But you know, I got to do what's comfortable for me, and we'll put out some edited videos. But unfortunately, there is not a way to fix that. I have tried, you know, seeing if there was an option to change the interface, but that's the way they want to promote the channels for YouTubers right now, and I'm so sorry, and I hate that. So if that has ruined the experience of finding my work, I apologize. I wish they could change that. It does hurt me. But hey, you're here now. So glad you found this live video. But unfortunately, you're going to have to slide over to the right to find the most recent work because they want to only promote the edited videos. Sorry. Back to this, though. Just wanted to answer that because I'm totally aware of it. I've cried about it. It really sucks. I don't know what to do. YouTube doesn't want to do it. What they, help these creators out. I'm trying my best. But to Dabrowski's work here, this was a beautiful moment. The light was shining. The emotions were there. You know, a little timid, of course, but this is Baby's first show. And they were giving. And I think for me personally, where it was really touching my spirit was seeing Bay in the audience crying and just getting so emotional over it. And of course, just the beautiful work with the fabric that was done. It was a moment. And, you know, Dabrowski, all that you felt in there, all those emotions. I send you grace. I send you love. I send all of that. I send it all because you left it on that stage. Child, don't get in the geesh full time. Come for Tamisha Iman's crown, okay? Listen, that was the first 2 episodes of We're Here, Season 3, Granbury, Texas, Jackson, Mississippi. I'm excited for episode 3 that's actually going to be on tonight, which is Friday night? HBO Max. Where is it at? Let me see. Right here. So check it out. That was for We're Here, Season 3. It's a really good show, very emotional. You're going to hear some stories. You're going to be tested in ways of thinking sometimes, and, you know, also maybe relating to the people on the program. And of course, Bob, Shangela, and Eureka are really great mentors to these folks. So for sure, you definitely gotta watch it. It's a really good show. Now let's move on to White Lotus. Let's move on to the White Lotus because I have been dying to talk about this show. HBO Max, listen, you scared us a bit with this, firing and all this programming stuff, and we got a little nervous. You got good stuff. Don't stop fucking with us. You already canceled Legendary, which I'm a little upset about. I'm upset about. But you got some other good programming here. Listen. This is an anthology series, okay? And in this anthology series, it revolves around these hotels called the White Lotus Hotels. Now, the first season, how it started off was like, oh, somebody was murdered. Rewind a week ago, and you start the process of figuring out how that happened, who did it, and what's going on. In the middle of all of that, you are then brought into some stories that are very, very toxic, drama, relatable, fucked up. All of that is where you're brought to with the White Lotus, okay? I have, it's so sad. I know Albie's name, of course, Tanya and Portia, who I'm going to be dragging Tanya and Portia for the first half of this. And I got Harper's name. Oh, why can't I think of the other couple's names here right now and her husband's name? Y'all are going to have to help me out with them because I'm going to be saying the daddy, the granddaddy, her husband, and the couple is what I'm going to be talking about. And so someone can help me with this one here because I've watched all these episodes. I've done reactions to them. And you can check it out on my Patreon. But let's go. Let's talk about it. I'm going to tell you what's happened so far up into the finale, which is Sunday. Okay, it's like a 7-episode series. There we go. Daphne and Cam. That's what it is. But who is Harper's husband's name? That's what it lose. Is it Ethan? Is it Ethan? And we're gonna talk about some other girls too, Lucia and what was the other baby who's not as what was that Miss Mama's name? Gotta sleep with the piano player. Girl, what the fuck was that about? Let's just start this up. Okay, first of all, we start the episode up. It's Ethan. Okay. We start the episode up with Daphne finding a body in the ocean while she's swimming. Okay. This lets us know Daphne is not going to be offed this season. Okay. That's the giveaway. And that normally happens with the first episode. It's like somebody finds something. What's going on here? There's that one person we know it couldn't be them. Okay. That's how the season starts. We then get into the hotel itself. We find out that the main manager of the hotel is an undercover lesbian who has a crush on one of her, co-workers. But a little bit of communication is lost in translation, and that turns into a very sticky situation. She then becomes involved with one of the friends of a particular worker. This is a good way to put it. But her storyline was very weird. She was also very rude and nasty, and I understand that she has to be tough, and they like to put an emphasis on Italy being very swoonable towards women and men being very machismo out there. But something about her storyline just didn't really sit with me for the majority of the season. She just gave anger, anger, anger. Then when she found somebody who she liked, who was a woman, oh, I love them so much, back to bitter again. She's not my favorite person. I enjoyed the other guy from last season just a tad bit better. But I did feel for her in a particular moment where she got shot down politely by finding out that her hotel worker was engaged to Rocio. It's terrible. Let's talk about Tanya and Portia. Tanya was so much more likable last season. I don't know if there is a new prescription that Jennifer Coolidge is taking, and I don't want to imply said such, but when I say it has been very hard to understand her this entire season, it's also been very annoying to deal with her as a character this entire season. I wish the first statement I made about possibly having an over prescription or being, definitely taking more than she should. I haven't seen her pop one, and I don't know where a lot of what's happening is coming from her, but I'm annoyed. I've been very annoyed with her character. And Portia, I'm going to drag you in a second too. I'm going to drag you for a second. Tanya is an idiot. Tanya married this man from last season who clearly has something going on behind her back with another woman. Okay. We had verification of this in reference to him being on the phone while she was supposed to be asleep at night. And I want y'all to understand, Tanya woke up in the middle of the night and caught this man on the phone having that conversation and still went back in and acted like nothing had happened. And she's been annoying me this entire season. She married this man. They're supposed to be on this couple's vacation, but she brought her assistant with her because Tanya is incapable of handling anything by herself. And she is completely dependent on another person to be there for her through her decision making. Whether she's making the right decision or the wrong decision, she needs someone to yell at, to talk to be in front of her because she is consistently lonely. That. With her husband, who was supposed to be there with her, who was already mean to her last season, which kind of tells you a lot about Tanya. She even makes mention of a particular character, Natasha Rothwell's character from the first season, who she should have got into business with, who honestly had Tanya's back, even through her loopiness. Either way, her husband is leaving her in Italy after only being there for a few days, but somehow being there before her, to get back to whoever he is actually involved with, leaving Tanya to, be alone again. But when he is there with Tanya, she doesn't need Portia around. As a matter of fact, he gets so angry, like insanely angry at Tanya for having Portia around. So much so that Tanya, being the fool that she is, now takes that aggression that her husband placed on her to Portia by making Portia get lost, stay in your room, don't leave your room until I need you. Imagine working for somebody and they have you sitting in your room all day. They took you out on this vacation, told you, hey, we're going to go to Italy, we're going to have a good time, you're going to eat pasta, all this kind of stuff. Just did all of that and then took that away from somebody who literally is supposed to be there working for you because your husband is a dick. Again, Tanya finds out but doesn't want to do anything about this, probably wants to remain aloof to these moments that he is cheating on her, has been cheating on her, and is using her for her money. Because in the last season, if you remember, Miss Mama is loaded and lost her late husband. Or was it her granddad? Was it her dad? Wait, rewind. Was it her dad or was it her previous husband that died? Comment section, help me out here. Because this gives context to another part of Tanya's story that we need to talk about with the gay, who is literally conning her as well. All the men in Tanya's life are conning her because look at Tanya. Was it? Yeah, was it her pop? It was her mom? It was her mother. Okay, great. Thank you. Bring it back. She lost her mother. That's right. Okay. God, I forgot about that. I gotta watch the first season again. It was really good, but that was a while ago. Her husband's now left her in Italy. She now needs Portia. But before we get to that, let's talk about how Portia basically used Albie here as a means of emotional support herself because her boss left her in Italy to fend to her own devices by having her stay in the room because her husband was there. And now her being completely void, vacant of who she wants to be and what she wants to do with her life, has met this really nice guy who kind of falls for her a little bit. And there is a bit of an attraction there and is a distraction from her in this reality that is really fucked up. But something about the fact that Portia doesn't like Albie because he's too nice. And she was making statements like, I wish you would just break my heart. It was so weird. She's only attracted to guys who are going to like be toxic and damage her. The hot guy who's going to use her and lose her. And Albie's not that. And I was really pissed off at Portia this season for this moment because enter this British guy who is kind of hot, kind of cool, whatever. He totally gives the bad boy vibes, but Portia falls for him. Mind you, Albie was dead ass in front of her in this weird situation by a pool where, Albie goes in for a kiss and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you kissed me. Because in reality, this guy was in the pool and she was sitting at the pool trying to get his attention by looking, oh my God, a wounded bird. Because once again, Albie even says that he's attracted to wounded birds. She's very much damaged girl tease. She wants the guy who's going to cause more damage. What? Portia then blows Albie off to be with this new guy who, is totally giving her the vibes that she wanted to have. He's dangerous. And he's attached to this, affluent, wealthy, well-off gay man who's out there vacationing with his family home, who is totally interested in Tanya, who has been very vocal and very open about her being a disaster. See, the thing is, Tanya is very loud and very annoying. Okay, let's just be clear. And when she was going through what she was going through with her husband, she was crying loudly in the hotel. She was yelling. She was pretty much losing her shit, and also presenting all of that to the hotel staff. At one point, she even brings in a tarot card reader to ask if her husband is cheating on her. The tarot card reader tells her he's cheating. He's been doing it for a while. Get away from this man. He is fucking with you. Like the tarot card reader was giving her the actual truth. What did Tanya do? This is negative. You need to leave. This is negative. This is not why I called you here. You're supposed to make me feel better. You have to go. And then thinks that the tarot card reader placed a curse on her to then find this man who is so kind to her and treats her so, oh, they have money too. So they're not trying to use me like everybody else is trying to use me. But they're con artists. And that person tells her, that's my nephew. Oh, Portia will get along well with him. Honey, that is a rent boy. A crazy scene of Tanya once again waking up in the middle of the night, walking around a house to find the guy who is supposed to be Portia's, interest now, totally lovey-dovey. They've had and everything. They've slept together, all that is really paid for or working with this man, and they sleep together and they play like that, and they're trying to get Tanya's money. So while he is entertaining Portia, who honestly was interested in somebody who did have some money and had a lot going for himself, had a whole lot going for him. Albie had a lot going on himself, but she fell in love with this guy and she played it in Albie's face. And maybe not even falling in love with him, but more so like Albie was rushing a bit, I'll be honest. And she wants like the sort of temporary kind of vibe, like the feel good right now, fill in the void kind of bad boy guy. And she used that and rubbed it in Albie's face. Okay. Like that was some fucked up shit, Albie and Lucia have a moment to counteract this transaction. It's funny I say transaction because we'll talk about that with these two very shortly. That storyline with this. Of course, Tanya is in a dream state of just, oh God, I really fucking hate her storyline this season, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't like this this big Bambi dumb blonde bullshit. I fucking hate it. I really hate Jennifer Coolidge's character this season. I was so more inclined with her last season. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, this makes sense. She's grieving. She's going through a lot. She's trying to find herself, this, that, and the other. This time with the husband and how he's treating her, the way she was acting, I want an Italian, dinner, and I want to get on a Vespa. Can we rent something like that? Can we do this? I want mussels and clams with my Italian man. Oh, look at the macaroons. I can't get into. I cannot. I'm trying to. Of her being aware of what's going on and then blissfully accepting it, because that's happened several times already. Okay? Even in this moment. So she sees the rip boy sleeping with this man who she's walking around with right now, right? She tells Portia to be careful, but then proceeds to still fuck around with him. Help me understand how that makes any sense to anybody else. Comment section, what's going on? I see y'all are up in here. Tell me your opinions on this too. I want to talk about this with y'all. I don't understand this. I do not understand this at all. I don't understand this. This man has now hired another guy who is supposed to be her date, that's a straight man, a real Italian guy, who's really a dealer, and gets her all kinds of, Ray J'd up. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Very Ray J up. Very, very bump nose candy. And is giving her the sexual pleasure that she's been asking for. Meanwhile, they're pulling a stunt. And I'm waiting to see what exactly it is that they're doing behind her back, because this is how we leave the second to last episode before the finale off, with her being entranced into this moment. Meanwhile, Portia is literally skipping the bill in a country that she is not familiar with, in a city she's never been to, in a place she's never gone to before, where she could be put in jail for stealing. Why do I feel like Portia's going to end up in jail at the end of the season, or something bad is going to happen to her? Can I be honest and also say I wouldn't be mad about it, because she's been pissing me off this season, especially with how she did Albie. And the way she's sort of been taking this approach of, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I just don't feel anything. And I just don't know. I don't relate to that, because, I've had those voids too. But it's the way how she had something presented to herself that honestly would have been so beneficial to her growth as a person. And it was right in front of her. And instead of taking that, she goes for the guy that probably she felt would have been unapproachable. The guy who wouldn't have given her time because he's so hot and whatever. And she wants to go for that feel. Not the guy who wants to be with her, but the guy who wants to just be with her. Okay. Smashy B, my thought was that her self-esteem is so bad that flattery will win her over no matter what. So when the compliment her, everything else goes out the window for her. I think that's the same. I think you're referring to Tanya. And I also feel like Portia and them both play into the same sort of spectrum of that, for sure. Portia is severely depressed. She's not in the right mindset for any guy, even creepy Albie. I like Albie, but I'm going to talk about where Albie. I have issues with Albie. Albie has great legs. Wait, how old is Portia and Albie supposed to be before I continue this? Because when they come in as kids, they're in their early 20s, right? He's in college. He's working. He has an internship. That's right. He has an internship at the job. All that. I just want to make sure, because the internet and people today, no, ma'am, I ain't about that bullshit. They grown. Okay, they grown. They just with their families. Well, she's on work. So, okay. Move on, Matt. Move on. I had to ask that question during my review, because I was like, wait. There's 3 generations here. I need to know these things. Because in the previous season, they had a teenage brother moment situation. College grads, okay, cool. Family values, look in the name. I'm telling you. Nope. Okay. Before I get there. before I get here. Remember when I was talking about the hotel manager liking one of her subordinates, coworkers, who gave her a compliment and told her, "Oh, I love how you treat the men, or you got the men, running around here." Of course, the machismo factor of Italian men, or the perception of that, this, and the other. She took that and misread that moment and thought she liked her, bought her a brooch, did the full bit, found out this lady was engaged to the dude who she was talking to, who also worked the front desk with her. And because mama was so jealous of the man, the man, of the man talking to her, she sent that man to work on the beach patio out there with the beach, the little bar out there, just so she could have her to herself. Then when she complains to the manager about the new guy that they put up there, who was not as attractive, which is what Miss Mama thought she was, oh, I'm gonna put the unattractive guy up there. She's not gonna want to talk to him. He's actually being gross and flirting with her, and she had to explain she's actually engaged to the other guy, and it broke her a bit, but it also was kind of like, girl, you assumed, and kind of deserved it a little bit, in my opinion. I was like, girl, she deserved that because she was being an asshole. But anywho, that's her role in this part. We'll get back to these two gross people eventually. Anywho, the way Tanya and Portia's story leaves off with Tanya being seduced by all of that nonsense and somebody possibly about to scam her over. And I think Portia is going to be fucked over in the process because he knows what is actually happening to Tanya right now. And he was told to keep her busy while they take care of Tanya. Okay. She is now left at a hotel with this man because he was way too drunk to go back. He was being loud and aggressive. They could have got arrested. And he starts spilling the beans while he's drunk on the bed with her. I don't see it ending well for Portia, whether she's the one that's in the water or she just gets fucked over. I do not see ending well for Portia. I don't know what story arc is coming after that, but I don't think she deserves Albie. And I think I did not like Portia. She got on my nerves. Her and Tanya deserve each other low-key. Whew. This storyline here is a lot to take in. This is the grossest. I hated this storyline, but it's also the messiest one of them all. It is so messy. It is so messy. Let's start. Okay. I do not know the granddad's name, and I don't know the pop's name. I know Albie's name, who is the young one in the middle here, but they're also visitors of this White Lotus hotel. Okay. Now, they don't really have anything to do with Tanya and necessarily. They're more so connected to Portia because Albie and, of course, Portia were a thing for just a few minutes here when, of course, Portia needed someone to talk to before those other people showed up to the hotel. But that's their connection to Tanya and Portia, only through Albie. The other guys don't want anything to do with Tanya because, well, Tanya is not 25 pushing, looking 18, because that's the kind of men that we have up in here. Okay. The dad is on this trip with his father, who is the granddad to Albie. These three generations of men are here to see their roots, to go to their birthplace where their family is from, to almost have a homecoming party for granddad here, who is, a little bit up there in age and wants to have this, great homecoming that takes place. Didn't call nobody, doesn't know the people that actually live there, just wants to show up, doesn't know any Italian for that matter, just wants to be there so he can have that story to come back with. I'm going to be so real with you. I know of people like this, and it is always so strange to me when people like, oh, I'm just going to go back over there. They have no idea who I am. We have never met before in our childhood life. I'm just going to roll up in the house. This is my last name. My father lived. You don't know that history. You don't know what going on. Your family could be fucked up. It was crazy. That scene was kind of funny though, because that family said, "We don't like men in this house." So, and it may be because the men that they came from, how the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It may be because those women who are a part of their family that didn't know they existed knew of the men that are related to them that have the same traits and tendencies of being misogynistic, nasty, and gross towards women and cheating on women. And of course, you know what I'm saying? It gave that energy family values, because I was like, well, obviously there has been history with men and this family. And it was like they literally walked into the house. Mind you, didn't speak a lick of Italian. Not a lick of it. Not a lick of it. Had the nerve to pull out a Google translator and just, you don't understand. Like, got out the, oh, I couldn't believe that shit. And it was just so, it really did put a lot of context into privilege, into believing things that, because I have this last name, these belong to me. But to Albie's father and him being a serial cheater, he apparently is in a bad place with his current wife right now and his own daughter, who is the sibling to Albie, because he's been cheating on their mother for a very, very long time. She probably has been taking it for quite some time. And, he said he'd work on it. But again, he still continues to cheat. So she was actually supposed to come on the trip as well as his daughter, but they decided not to go because there is too much tension happening in the family. The granddad feels, oh, I can talk to them because, he can tell them it's okay, make them feel bad for what he did, make it not be a big deal, lie on his son's behalf so he gets his way. He even literally talks to him. It's insane how the granddad, who is the father of this man, talks to him about, you don't even know how to cheat correctly. You got too messy. That was your problem. To where he had to explain to his own father, you think you were clear? You think you were good? We knew. Mom was sick of you. I related to this scene, to this, I think that's the reason why I hated the storyline, because I related so much to this. Oh, I related too much to this as a child coming from a household that had to deal with things like that. I related. The problem is that while he's supposed to be on this trip with his family, which he only has a portion of, to go visit his roots, he already has set up a date for pay that is there for his, whatever they're going to do. You know what they're going to do. And he has it set up for the entire week. So she will be able to be there and at his will and desire. Okay. Because his relationship with Albie is becoming fractured, because Albie is continuously bringing up the infidelity that his father has placed into their family life, into the household of it all. Okay. His father believes, I'm going to buy your mother something and make her feel better. I'm going to talk this out. I'm going to work this out. Sometimes the damage is already done. It's already done. Just like his father, he is the same. And with Albie, there was a little light and grace, but some things are starting to get interesting, to where I think Albie has a different proportion of what that is. Okay. Or a different portion, not proportion, a different portion of what that is. But in the midst of that, with Albie calling his dad out, with his dad kind of realizing like this is getting out of hand even for him, he then calls off Lucia and says, we can't do this anymore. But he actually gave her access to his hotel room and his father's hotel room, so that way she could continue to be there, because the hotel manager knows what she's doing and doesn't want her at the spot. So him being such a rich guest, and them not wanting to have that bad press or anything, I'm going to let this be so he can get his way. And they made room keys. I need y'all to really think about this. This man had these two women, strangers, that he low-key hired one, and she's using the other for more money so she can get paid. His father's hotel room, who his father is a misogynistic motherfucking mess. Did you hear me? Like the fact that the grandfather walked in on those two ladies in his room because they needed to change their clothes because they're low key living in and out the hotel, actually living out the hotel, either sleeping in a room with somebody or sleeping on the couch, then go take a shower in this pop's room. It's a lot, you know. And the granddad is aware that his son is still doing what he's doing and is sort of praising him a little bit about it, but telling him, pull your shit together. You're being too sloppy. Because his son was sort of catching wind of something not really feeling right. The problem is that when the father called off Lucia, who honestly, I got to be honest with you here. What is this girl's name again? The piano player. I do not like her storyline at all. You're a friend of Lucia who wants to be a singer. You support your friend in what she does. So you go and aid her, but you don't want to do those things like her. But then you meet this piano player who works at Mia. Yeah, let's keep Mia. Maybe Mia. Yeah, let's keep Mia. You meet this piano player who looks like the last cigarette in a case that's been found on the side of the road, bitch. You know, a long Pall Mall that's been sitting there for a good minute. And it's like you need to sleep with him because he knows people who are going to help you out. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe the writer is thinking because they're in a small town in Italy that this for her is the way into the industry. But I'm thinking he works at a hotel as the lounge singer. And your thought process was to sleep with this man who she ends up giving him Viagra and something that Miley Cyrus used to sing about before she was saved. And ends up putting him in the hospital, which she finds her way clocking in to now sing at the piano and taking his job, which more people like her singing in the first place. I'm indifferent about it. I'm like, oh girl, she sounds like somebody in the shower. Give her an EDM beat and she'll be the next Vanessa Carlton. Anywho, Carly Rae Jepsen. That was who I was thinking. She ends up sleeping with the hotel manager because that was the same day that she found out Miss Mama was engaged to Rossio, who she don't even like that. And she got played, but not really. She played herself. And she's like, I know you're a lesbian. That's how she conned her way into getting the piano job, y'all. And she starts to do some things with the hotel manager. They left off with them making out and, frotting. That's a good, yeah, there we go. Their clothes were on. That was great. What was your purpose? What is Mia's purpose? Like, real talk, I hate her storyline. Stupid. I will admit season 1 had a little bit more in terms of every storyline was good. No storyline was dumb. Everybody had their part to play. This season, it has been sections of stories that have been really hitting, and then other people who, when they interject into the scenes, it's like, oh, here we go with this shit. Now we have to change the vibe up again. But to Lucia, of course, we figured out what she does for a living here, and she makes her money off the rich American or foreign guests that come to this hotel. Now she is playing this field game because she has now involved herself with both Albie's father, okay, but also Albie himself. There are some other people, Cameron and what's his name? What is Harper's husband's name again? Harper's husband. They got involved with them. So they're almost, if someone were to make the argument, well, Matt, they're the glue between every story. Well, not Tanya and Portia. Portia by way of, saliva in body parts probably, but not technically. They're more so the glue between the couples that are on a trip and the family that's on the trip. Okay. Lucia starts messing with Albie after losing out on money from Cameron. And we'll get to that in a second. Like craziness. She ends up sort of playing Albie a little bit. And she knows that that is the son of the guy who she was initially fucking around with. So she knows he has money. So if she can con him into this, she's going to get some money out of him, which is what I think is what happened here later on with Albie and his dumb ass. Because he let her play him because he is, of course, naive and in love kind of guy. Like, she gave me some puss. That's bae. You know what I'm saying? Albie gives me that tease, unfortunately. And I like him as a character because he's such a sweetheart and he's sticking up for women and all that kind of jazz. But he plays simp. And his simpness has gotten his now dad and granddad into further trouble with Lucia, which really we can place the blame on the dad for in general because he's the one that hired her in the first place. But now Lucia is messing with Albie, but Albie and her are like messing around. But the first time they messed around, now, like, okay, y'all, you have to really think about this. Why would you still be fucking around with somebody that gave you a price after the first night y'all did what you did, slept over, and you thought she was somebody who low-key was a hotel guest? He didn't know that was her business until after they did what they did. And she was like, I thought you knew. It was the way she was playing. I'm sorry. I think she was fully aware of that moment. I don't think she really likes Albie like that. I think she thinks that Albie is the ideal of, oh my God, this is what it would be like if somebody like didn't want to, pimp me out or whatever. But like, I think that she did that on purpose so she could get the money that she is missing from Cameron. And Albie played into it and ends up getting the money, which is a mess. But it's the fact that Albie still wants to deal with her and talk to her and be with her. And she's doing it out of, okay, I will hang with him, but he's not going to pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? He already did the first transaction, right? It's he can take me out to eat and treat me like a girl who is not working. That's appealing to her, but she's still working. And Albie's okay with that. And this all stems around Albie being jealous of Portia with that guy because Portia left him to his own devices. He walked up on Portia and that dude talking. That shit was crazy awkward. Had to go sit back down with his big ass book. And that's when Lucia entered, a brokenhearted simp seeing another beautiful woman give him time and attention. And there you go. So while his father may be a cheater, Albie is a simp because of what he's seen his mother go through with his father cheating on her. That's tea. That's why I have a little special place in my heart for Albie, because it's like, oh, I feel bad for him. But you low-key are a punk. Like, not to be rude, but hi kid. No. Hi kid. Ain't this show crazy? Like, this is, do you see where this intersection happens? With him meeting Lucia, where she's entertaining him at the bar. He's going to buy us drinks, do the full work. That's all this is about. I'm going to work him. To then seeing Albie being hurt because Portia was someone he was invested in, to then throwing that back in their faces and her getting money out of the situation, to then turning him into now needing him. So we leave their story in a really weird place with Albie hiring Lucia as a translator when they went to the house that we talked about, because I told you, remember the granddaddy thought he was like, oh, I'm a man, I'm gonna walk up in here and I'm the family and my last name, my father's father, grandmother, mother, all that kind of bullshit didn't work out, right? They hired her to be the translator in that situation. That didn't necessarily work out because of the fact that Lucia had her employer following her. This employer was caught the previous night with Albie and her walking around for ice cream. Once again, Albie is fully aware of what she does for a living, and he wants to play Captain Saberho. As a matter of fact, he was playing Captain Saberho, literally Captain Saberho with Portia, because Portia was over there looking like a wounded bird. So Albie wanted to be there to save the day. Same thing's happening with Lucia. Ooh, it's a mess. So Lucia ends up going back with the guy, but shows up the same night to still be with Albie and to sleep with him, okay? Because this is comfortable for her right now. But I have a suspicion, and this is where I get to the predictions of who I think is the body in the water. I don't want it to be Albie, but like I say, you play a simp, you're going to get fed. I think he is going to be, out of these three, the one. And based off of what I could see, let's get to the picture here. Possibly. It might not be, because Albie actually has like tennis legs. And if y'all know what I'm talking about, he's got some tennis legs, okay? I think he is in on it, such a bit. I want to give that some time. I want to get to Albie's picture so we can give context here. I want to say no, because I want to give Lucia the doubt, because the benefit of the doubt, because of the fact that there was that full moment with her and Mia where they were talking about wanting to get away from this and not be these broken girls and having a normal life. Like, I want to say no, but also she's saying that she owes him money or a certain amount before she can get out, which is the case in certain situations like that for sure. So Albie and his dad did come out with hands on Lucia's employer, who seems super aggressive. It was more so the granddad for me, family values, who, once again, what do they say? She's going with them. No, you didn't say this right. Let me go talk to them. That has been a running theme with him this entire season. I'm going to say something and it's going to work. I'm going to do it and it's going to happen my way. It didn't work out for that family, though. I wonder what it's going to be like when Albie finds out that him and his dad have shared the same woman. That's the part that I think we're all forgetting about, because there's so much happening with this family in this woman and Mia's dumb storyline. But like, what's going to happen when Albie finds out that him and his father have exchanged juices high key? Oh, they dropped off their sperm in the same bank. I'm telling you, that's the part I think that we really need to discuss. Not the Eskimo brothers. That's nasty. That's funny. Ow, I can't. But literally, these two have more in common than they think. Oh my God. I thought that was that was too much for me. It's the fact that his dad knows. His dad knows. And he doesn't want to say anything. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you do realize that if you told your son that that is the woman that you hired for this entire trip, that not only would it stop Albie from fucking around with her, oh yeah, but then Albie's definitely not going to talk to him again, because he came on a vacation that his wife was supposed to be on and already had somebody ready to go, that he had an online dating profile for. Margaret, thank you so much. Thank you for the tip. I appreciate it. This is for Dragula, that Dragula review. Thank you so much for that tip, Margaret. And thanks everybody for tuning in today. This is a little different. I know it's not Drag Race, it's HBO Max stuff, but still really great shows that I've been reacting to on Patreon, and bringing this live review here for YouTube. So this is We're Here season 3, episodes 1 and 2, and of course a recap of the entirety of the White Lotus season 2 so far. The finale is this Sunday on HBO Max. And of course, We're Here is premiering tonight, episode 3 on HBO Max as well. Also, Canada versus the World will be on Wow Presents Plus. I will have my reaction out tomorrow for that one, as well as the review here on my channel, with, of course, the panel on Sunday. This one right here. Is it Eric? What is Harper's husband's name? This guy right here with the baseball cap. I need that name real quick, and then I know exactly how I can word all this, because I know it's Daphne and Cameron. Daphne is over here giving you no arch support in her back, and Cameron is douche McNugget McGee, right? And then of course Harper, played by Aubrey Plaza, who I'm such a big fan of since her Parks and Recreation days. This, I think Aubrey needs to be nominated for an Emmy for, because Ethan. Thank you. It was an E. I knew it was an E. Ethan. Cameron, Harper, Daphne. Cameron, Daphne, Ethan, Harper. Got it. Let's go. Ethan and Cameron went to college together, and apparently there is more to their story than meets the eye in terms of how they feel about each other. Because on the outside, it seems like they were very good friends, with Cameron being a bit more popular than Ethan, and Ethan being a brain, but somehow still maintaining a friendship of sorts. What happens is that they're on this couples trip together because Ethan recently has come into a lot of money and is now rich, while Cameron has already been in the game of wealth with his beautiful wife, Daphne, not to be mistaken with Freddie's Daphne here, but they're out in Italy together as a couple with, of course, Ethan bringing his wife, Harper, who is a definite different personality type from Cameron and Daphne, who are very much vapid. They don't even vote, have quite interesting opinions on certain things. And with what Harper does for a living, which is, representing people in work cases against bad employers, where Cameron is currently considered to be a very toxic, evil Mr. Burns at a young age employer, not wanting to give his own employees certain privileges. It sort of sets off Harper in recognizing the amount of privilege that these two have. And even mentioning, while Ethan can also, yeah, you confirmed it too, inviting their white passing POC friends for social media purposes, this, that, and the other. Listen, Harper is not a fan of Cameron and Daphne, and she has every right to be, because while Harper has already seen the smoke, Daphne and Cameron have been dragging her since day one, especially Cameron. And Cameron believes because Ethan now has money that he should let her go and get someone hot, like how he has with Daphne. But there's more to that story, of course. As this progresses, and Harper is completely annoyed by everything that Cameron and Daphne are doing, there's obviously tension between her and Ethan because they haven't been sleeping together, while Cameron and Daphne are basically disgusting all the time. Ethan has some issues with only wanting to really get it on in the morning time because of how his schedule works. Same thing goes with Harper. They're on different times of the day. Of course, they love each other and they've been with each other for a minute, but there's definitely a lack of intimacy in their department. This is picked up by Cameron, who, of course, wants to play this into Ethan's insecurities of his own that he has with Cameron that ends up popping up later. Cameron, being a pick me person, wants to make sure that Harper knows that there's nothing between us. We're all good. We should be friends. Don't be mad at us. Harper wants to now not be the Debbie Downer here and puts on a brave face. But this also leads her into now dealing with Daphne's bullshit because, of course, Cameron and her have their own issues. Cameron has been cheating on Daphne since probably inception of their marriage, and that comes from Cameron feeling like he's a man and he makes money, and if you have all this, why not cheat? This is literally a conversation he was having with Ethan. It's fucking weird. Daphne knows what's up and, even has kids to hold the collateral on this one, which that's what it kind of feels like. Also, did you catch that moment with Daphne and Cameron when they were talking about her getting a C-section and, how Cameron was like, it almost killed me. And Daphne is like, well, it actually did almost kill me. These were the moments when Harper was starting to realize there is a chink in the armor. There is a little weakness in this facade that they're holding. And she could see that there really wasn't the case. And when they get to this villa that Daphne has rented for the entire day without even telling Harper about it, basically leaving her stranded there and stuck there. And she doesn't want to seem like a Debbie Downer. So she's not going to be like, oh, no, I'm going to go back because you didn't tell me about this. She doesn't want to seem like a party pooper because they already talk about her. She obliges and goes with Daphne here. And with that happening, Daphne starts spilling the beans about how she deals with these moments with Cameron, basically running his wallet hot, having another baby, making it so much so to where she punishes him in her own way of dealing with the bullshit. But she's willing to accept what he does because she doesn't want to lose the lifestyle she has. What? First of all, I'm Lewis, right? I'm so you in this moment. I would have been pissed. You got me away from my husband, who I do not trust with your husband, in a different country, in a different city, randomly walking around town doing all this crazy stuff that's got me paranoid and shit, to then hear about your problems, which I knew about, putting all that drama and baggage on me. Are you crazy? Huh. Mind you, Ethan already feels some kind of way about Harper talking about when she spilled that. I was like, child, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it today. Can't do it today. But Ethan already feels some kind of way about Harper talking about them because he feels she's such a downer, even though he low-key agrees. He just likes to play everything's fine when it's really not. Now, where this really takes off for me and when Ethan starts to come into play is because Ethan follows through with Cameron by entertaining the day that they decide to go to the villa, because Daphne wanted to go, Cameron wasn't interested. Daphne's been wanting to do this. It's not really Cameron's thing. She says, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take Harper with me. Okay. When this is a problem is that Cameron gets Ethan to have a little fun time, a little fun here with our favorite glue connectors of these stories, Lucia and Mia. Cameron has sex with Lucia on the couch in Ethan and Harper's room. Mia kisses Ethan, but Ethan does not reciprocate any further. He felt uncomfortable. Apparently, this was something that happened often in college for Ethan in reference to Cameron. Ethan would tell Cameron that he likes this girl. Cameron would go after the girl. Cameron would then date the girl, fuck the girl, rub it in Ethan's face. So now imagine Cameron sleeping with this woman in your room, on your couch, knowing that his wife already doesn't like you, setting you up for a situation. Harper finds the condom wrapper, tries to get Ethan to tell the truth, who Ethan doesn't want to tell her because Cameron promised him, but he doesn't know that Harper knows already something happened. By the time Ethan tells her the truth, it's still hard for Harper to believe because he lied. And one thing about Harper and Ethan's relationship, they don't lie to each other. Ethan then tells Cameron, you got to tell my wife, chill the fuck out. It was you, or at least that's not what happened. It was you, not me. Mind you, Harper already knows that Cameron cheats on Daphne because Daphne confirmed that. But then to have Ethan tell her that Cameron slept with somebody in their room, to which Harper tried to tell Daphne, to which Daphne said, it's whatever. I'll deal with it later in my own way. Like, the fuck? But gets Harper to chill out, you know? But then this turns into a very creepy situation for Harper when it comes to Cameron. I didn't know if she was daydreaming this when she was talking to him or if it was really happening and she didn't actually tell Ethan yet what was going on. But Cameron was rubbing on Harper's leg when they were at this dinner. And Harper was asking questions about, did y'all have, threesomes, this, that, and the other? And it brought out some truth about Ethan's relationship with Cameron as far as feeling emasculated by him. This plays into Ethan's paranoia for now, the remainder of what the episodes are over Harper, because now he feels like Harper is punishing him because he didn't tell the truth initially. And Cameron is starting to flirt with Harper more because Harper has opened herself up a little bit. She still talks shit behind their backs, but she's being a little bit more open to things. But that has thrown Ethan off because he knows that after he got caught in that lie, that Harper was over it. So she's low-key teasing and playing with him But at the same time, he thinks and is now feeling, because of Cameron's reputation, that he's slept with Harper. At one point, when they get in the ocean after this full awkward moment, Harper and Cameron go have drinks, and Ethan takes that as Harper fucking with him. They then leave out of his eyesight. Harper sends a text going up to my room to get my hat, noticing that both of them are gone. He comes in the room, but he can't get in the room because the top lock is locked. Now that's super suspicious. Harper opens the door. What's wrong? Why are you tripping like that? Why would you have the top lock locked if I'm not here? Well, it must have slipped my mind. I've been drinking. But the door going into Daphne and Cameron's room is open, but not the door that's coming from Cameron and Daphne's side. This makes him feel like he's going crazy. I think Harper was fucking with him, personally, because I don't think she would have slept with him because she hates Cameron. However, I think she was fucking with Ethan, and that might hurt her with Ethan, because he's breaking down right now because of everything that's happening with his past, of course, with Cameron. That is where we're at right now. Ethan thinks Cameron slept with Harper. Harper, low key, doesn't know if Ethan's telling the full truth or not over Cameron sleeping on the couch, but wants to believe him. But we don't know if she fully takes him in just yet. Daphne is okay with the whole situation because she knows she's getting money out of this. She's going to play her husband up. And Cameron is the worst. Now, Lucia and Mia still play a factor into this situation, y'all, because he was supposed to pay them a certain amount of money for their fun. He only paid them half. He still owes them the other half. Harper saw Ethan talking to those girls, and that led her to then fully investigate into this. Like, oh, you fucking with me for real. Which Ethan's now, no, this is all Cameron's fault. Who is the body in the ocean? I don't know, but I think it's going to either come out of the family with either the granddad, the dad, and the son. It's either them, or it's going to be one of the three between Ethan, Harper, and Cameron. Because we know that Daphne is still okay from the beginning of the season, but we don't know who is the body in the water. So we'll find out Sunday, and I'm excited for it. So that is my little recap of the White Lotus season 2, what has happened so far, what I feel about certain characters. Tanya and Portia are a waste of time. Lucia and Mia, honestly, are there just for connection purposes, but Mia is really the lacking part of that storyline. Lucia gets on my nerves, but she got to do what she got to do. I feel bad for Albie, but he's a simp. His father's gross. His granddad's gross. Team Harper all the way. Ethan, idiot. Cameron, gross. Daphne, And there it is. We'll see. Not with them feet. No, we saw Jennifer's feet. That ain't those feet. All right, so let's get to SZA's new album SOS that recently came out last night, or I should say today, for those of you who got it at the midnight release here. I have my thoughts and opinions on it. It's not going to be too long of a review, but more so just what the album did for me, and if I like it or not, and if I would recommend it. So now, will I compare this to Control? I don't think that's fair. Control was a moment. Is this a good album? Yes. Did I like a lot of songs? Absolutely. Am I still getting into it? That part. So Control didn't immediately sell me the first time I listened to it either. I had certain songs that I had on repeat. And then as time progressed, I started listening to the album as a whole, and it really sat with me. This is going to be the same case with SOS, because I have a lot of songs that I like, some that really hit the mark for me, and others that I've kind of been skipping. But I feel like, once again, it's going to take a day when I'm just doing something random, has nothing to do with anything, and that song's going to touch my spirit. So I highly recommend it. You know, Mama does sing in cursive. Every now and then it sounds like the words are running so close together that it is college composition. But she talks from a real perspective, and I think the best way to describe SZA's album and just her musicality is almost like somebody singing from pages from their diary. Some are poems, some feel like, it's her having a conversation. It feels like I'm listening to somebody pull a diary up and then just go in, and somebody is instrumentals behind this, musicality, everything behind it. But to me, it feels like I'm listening to diary entries, and some of those entries relate to things that I'm going through or situations I've been through. So, in no particular order, these are some of the songs that I found myself really, really vibing to, and I'm gonna give you the absolute faves. Good Seek and Destroy is on my list. Ghost in the Machine is on my list. Low, Love Language, Blind, Special, Notice Me, Too Late, Far, T-Shirt, Good Days. Are my favorites so far. But the ones that I've been listening to on repeat, like consistently over and over again, Ghost in the Machine, Low, Down, Blind, and Notice Me, and Far have been touching my spirit. Like those in particular, they relate to Matty on another level. So if you're interested in the album, you should take a listen to it. It's pretty good. I'm going to get the panel's perspective on Sunday. It'll also be like a little light moment to have a conversation about it too. 5 to 10 minutes, a little light, but you should get into it. It's pretty good. Beautiful instrumentals, really just some of the songs I relate to so bad. She talks a little bit more shit on this album than she did the first one too, but for 20 tracks, I enjoyed the majority of it, so I definitely would recommend it. Okay. It's been a recap with me. I hope you've had a good time today, everybody. Again, I know it's not my typical work, and I know I always apologize for stuff like that, but I feel better once I do. I always feel better about once I do. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be talking about Canada versus the world. I'm excited to see how this episode is going to go. Be on the lookout for my reaction on Patreon for that tomorrow, as well as my live review of that Saturday. It's going to be the same time we've been doing, so that won't change. And then, of course, Sunday is the panel, and I'll take my break on Monday, Tuesday. And hopefully we get a season 15 promo very soon. Okay. I actually stopped playing Scarlet for a second in Nikki because I like literally made my character. I started it out and then I said, stop, because I found myself not enjoying it immediately because I realized that with Violet, my journey wasn't done. I didn't do the Ace tournament or anything like that. So that Scarlet, I'm going to wait to touch next year. I actually put it right back in its case. I put it in like a little game, cubby that I have. I will touch that next year. I'm going to play Violet to its fullest because I actually finished the Ace tournament. I just started shiny hunting. I'm trying to fill in my Pokédex and get my shiny charm. Like I need to play the game. It's crazy because I thought, I beat it. I did the whole story, the battle with Professor Tur. I'm finished. There's a lot of afterplay and things to do afterwards that's really kind of still entertaining to do. So yeah, I'm back on Violet, to be honest with you. And I caught my first shiny yesterday. I need to put the link in or at least advise y'all on whose video I went to, but I had to go to a combination of 3 different videos from 3 different YouTubers on how to really shiny hunt. And I finally found one on the last 30 seconds of my Herba Mystica sandwich. I caught a shiny Marini. It's so cute. I love it so much. It's pink. You can't tell from this thing, but oh my gosh, you can't tell. It's pink though. It's my baby. My baby. Like one YouTuber, my baby. It's my baby. But yeah, I'm starting to shiny hunt and I'm trying to build competitive teams. I'm in a group chat right now with other Pokemon players and they're building their competitive teams. And I'm very much behind because if you remember, I told you my game didn't save after 7 hours of playing and I had to restart a lot over. So I'm trying to get that together so I can battle with people. But I'm always up for raids. I'm always up for raids and stuff. So y'all let me know what's gooey. That's the thing I do the most. I play the raids so I can get bottle caps, ability capsules, Herba Mysticas. And it gives me those XP things. And then I go into the wild and start to do the EV training with them and all that jazz. So y'all, of course, pick up feathers and shit. But yeah, I love the game. It's really good. I hate it's glitchy, but it's not killing the experience that much for me to where I'm like, I can't play this. No, I'm having a good time. I'm still having a good time. And it's fun to play the raids with random people around the world and to do surprise trades and stuff. So yeah, it's cool. I'm going to wrap this up. It's been 2+ hours, y'all, and I'm a little tired and I want to eat something. And I was going to order something to eat, but baby, after that $50-something got taken out my account from motherfucking Linza. We're going to pray that we make some money this weekend because they got me, gal. They got me. She's broken till the 21st. So listen, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Please take care. Have yourselves an amazing, wonderful, awesome, historic day, whatever you're doing today or whatever your night is giving you. I hope it's peaceful, blessed, and loved. We're Here is on HBO Max. Check it out. It's a great show, good for the emotions. Also, the White Lotus season 2, both seasons, as well as all the seasons of We're Here, are available on HBO Max. You should check it out. Good shows, both all around. Lots of mystery in one, and the other one, it takes us there. And we talked about SZA's album SOS. I say check it out. I have a lot of songs that I like. I think you'll like it too. I'll see you tomorrow for Canada versus the World. Have fun watching it tonight. I'm about to go raid hunting and shiny hunting now, to be honest with you, and make myself something to eat. I'll see you next time, kids. Bye.
Listen.